I want to thank Marvelous and DMM Games for sending us this game to review. I remember all the way back in the Switch's early days hearing about this odd little game called Gal Metal. It seemed very indie with its art style, looking kind of low budget like it was some kind of port. This was the era of ports on the Switch after all. However, with it finally coming to the West 3/4 of a year later, that initial impression did make me interested to try it. So I guess let's not judge a book by its cover, or should I say an album by its art? And let's see if Gal Metal has what it takes to rock. The story of Gal Metal is told in manga-style panels and speech bubbles, no animation except for moving still images, and it gets off that aesthetic pretty well. For a game all about drumming in a metal band, they could have kept it simple, but where's the fun in that? Instead you play as, funnily enough, not a girl but a guy, who gets abducted by evil octopus aliens alongside a girl of the same age. The aliens explain that music from Earth caused their world to be destroyed, and they are here for revenge. But instead of doing it right now, they'll give fair warning and attack in a few days, but only after fusing their two guests together and dropping them back again. Yep, it's a Freaky Friday situation. Sort of. The guy is in control of the girl's body, but her consciousness is still there. She just has no control. Luckily for them, she's in a heavy metal band with 4 other girls, and now she has to teach the player how to play the drums so the band can stop the invasion through the power of metal. Rock on! Yes, the story is silly, but it does provide context for why the protag, Rinko, can't play the drums anymore, and also gives excuses for the invaders to provide challenges by interfering with the performances. The story isn't anything serious or capturing, but it's cute and it has some funny moments. Gal Metal is a rhythm game, but not a simple one. The game asks you to use the Joy-Cons as drumsticks and play your virtual drums to a rhythm. There are a number of beats you can play to, and depending on the song, certain beats do well and others do not. While the game recommends certain beats per song, it also encourages you to find your own rhythm and experiment. Doing combinations of beats to the rhythm allows you to increase your metal power, which you need, as to beat each level you must reach a certain total of metal power. The motion controls come in both simple and complex, where simple just requires shaking each remote and complex requires you to play them like an actual drum. Of course, if you don't like motion controls, there is a button mode and... Oh no. Let's go back to the motion controls. Yeah, let's put it on simple as well. Yeah, that's good. See, this game is not easy, but it also is. The game really asks you to get the rhythm down like you were playing actual drums, and so comes off as one of the more complicated rhythm games I've ever played. But at the same time, the story mode is incredibly simple. I never got higher than a C rank on any mission, but I still passed every time. In fact, some missions I ignored the rhythm of the song entirely and just went nuts with the drum just to see. And it worked. This did allow me to finish the game, but I don't feel like I am any better at the drums than I was at the start, and the issue here is you need to be good at the drums for any other mode. I may have passed every story mission with ease, but in free play I haven't even gotten close to enough metal power to pass. Even the first song in the game is brutally hard in free mode. For someone musically inept like myself, this made all the side content a little pointless. And as the game only has 13 songs, all of which are public domain classics played in a heavy metal style, the game does go over quite quickly. It's split into chapters with story and bonding in between to pad out the length, but the actual rhythm element doesn't last longer than listening to a CD. So about that bonding, if making friends is more your thing, then In Between Songs is the gameplay for you. When not fighting aliens with heavy metal buck, you are instead hanging out with your friends and socialising, but you can only do so much in a single day. Doing activities outside of practice can help increase certain stats that make passing missions easier, and hanging out with friends increases your bond with them and opens the player up to more perks. There are issues here as well, however. For example, unless a special event has been triggered, the routine of your friends is the same every single day. This also means if you want to maximise your friendship, you end up doing the same activities every single day, and so increasing the same stats every single day. This makes the skills a bit lopsided and also makes the character Shimi hard to bond with, as she only comes out in the evening when the player is likely low on stamina. The bonding doesn't feel very balanced, but it does add a nice and enjoyable pause between gigs that I think is needed, even if it is just padding. As I said in my intro, the presentation was the thing that made me interested in Gal Metal in the first place, but not for the best of reasons. It looked very budget, and having played the game, it still does. However, it feels much more stylistic in person. It reminds me heavily of games like Jet Set Radio and Cell Damage, which isn't bad. As for the manga-style cutscenes and cutouts, they are okay. It really comes down to if you like the art style, which I don't dislike, but don't think is amazing either. Now, for a rhythm game, the music is obviously vital, and as mentioned before, the songs are all classics with a heavy metal twist. This is okay, but I kind of wish there were some original tracks. I suppose this was done because of costs, and so that anyone already familiar with the drums might have, or can, practice it, and ace the free play modes. But it does make the soundtrack feel less special, and the other music in the game is not anything to write home about. It's not bad, just stylized, and how much you enjoy the style is subjective. I kind of like it, but I don't think it goes quite far enough to truly stand out. I really enjoy rhythm games, despite being musically illiterate, and that gives me a rather unique outlook for gal metal. On the one hand, I enjoy jamming out in the story mode and talking to my bandmates, even if the songs are generic. It's still fun to drum along with the game. However, this is a game I could never master, and as such, anything outside of the really easy campaign is practically impossible for me. If you have interest in the drums or want to learn them, then I think this game would be a great tool. However, if you are musically illiterate like myself, it's hard to recommend as you won't be able to get the maximum amount of enjoyment from it. I give gal metal a 3 out of 5. Once again, I would like to thank Marvelous and DMM Games for sending us this game to review. I hope it does them well. As for everyone else, let me know what you thought of this video below. Let me know if you've purchased gal metal or are thinking about purchasing it, and if my review swayed your mind in any direction. I want to give a special shout out to all of our patrons, in particular our super patron the Duke of Dorks. A link to a channel will be in the description below. With that out of the way guys, always remember to return to the source.